Better yourself, know that got lost a shell, but it's all good. I never thought I could be so happy. It could be safe to say.
Hello, welcome to Telefilm Canada Pitch This. Thank you. Punctuation is important. My name is Carly Kastner. I am the Industry Programming Coordinator at the festival this year, and we are so happy that you're here, whether you're joining us in the live studio audience or via our live stream. Thank you for coming. First, I would like to acknowledge and thank the original keepers of this land, the Mississaugas of New Credit, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat, for hosting us here today and every day. Thank you. Please remember that there is no photography or video recording permitted in the studio. There is a publication ban attached to one of the pitches that you'll see tonight, so we especially stress this tonight. For all of you proud friends and family in the audience, not to worry, we are capturing everything, and you can find it on our website and our YouTube channel. Speaking of the wonders of the World Wide Web, even though only one team can walk away with the $15,000 giant novelty check, we can all help our pitching projects get paid, or we can help all of our pitching projects get paid in the currency that is social media. So please do tweet tonight about what you like, what you don't, it all counts. Telefilm Canada Pitch This is a part of TIFF's talent development programming, which includes Studio, Talent Lab, Rising Stars, and our TIFF residency programs. We would like to thank our presenting partner, Telefilm Canada, who shares our desire to develop and support Canadian talent. Please welcome Francesca Accinelli, Director of National Promotion and Communications at Telefilm Canada.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 18th annual Telefilm Canada Pitch This. 18 years. It's incredible. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite events at the festival because it brings together the things that we at Telefilm are most passionate about: talent, creativity, marketing, and of course, financing. The discovery and encouragement of new talent within our industry needs to be a priority. It's the best means to ensuring success, and one of Telefilm's responses to this call has been to increase our support to emerging content creators. And one of the initiatives that was started around 5 years ago that we're really seeing amazing traction in terms of diversity of voices and new voices from all across Canada is our micro-budget program. And for this year, we're really proud that 4 of our micro-budget projects were selected for TIFF. And I also saw that a number of our past micro-budget recipients are also participating in many other TIFF programs. And it's really heartening because these voices need and must be heard. I'm also really ecstatic actually I talked to you about that. I'm going to move on, and it makes me shorter. I'm also really excited to say that a past Pitch This winner, Pat Mills, returns to the festival with Don't Talk to Irene. So as you see, success can happen from this amazing event. And lastly, I'll say, for those of you that have an industry pass, please come visit us at the Telefilm OMDC Canada Pavilion. We're over in the Hyatt. We're there till Wednesday. We're happy to see you. And lastly, I can't thank TIFF enough, being our Pitch This partner, for giving us this platform and allowing us to help the new content creators and many veterans, who I just saw again in the green room, have a voice. Please get excited. Please show their support. And as was mentioned before, please tweet about them, the ones you can, apparently. But please really go see lots of Canadian content because there's so much good stuff. Thanks, everybody, and enjoy the pitches.
Thank you, Francesca. And now to introduce our pitching team's toughest competition, our MC for this evening is a recovered lawyer turned feminist comic. Candy Palmater has gone from defending labor and Aboriginal rights in the courtroom to acting on the streets and in front of the camera. She is an actor, writer, columnist, activist, international comedian, and multiple award-winning TV and radio personality. I know by the end of tonight, you're all going to want more Candy. You can find her on ATPN's The Candy Show and hear her sweet, sweet voice as the narrator of CBC's series True North Calling, as well as on her upcoming podcast, Sweet Talk with Candy Palmater, due out before Christmas. One more thing to look forward to is a recently signed book deal with HarperCollins. Congratulations, and please welcome Candy Palmater.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What was left out of the introductory package is that I'm also menopausal, which means I'm at a point now where I'm doing this, and I didn't bring my reading glasses, but I'm hoping they're going to give me enough light so that I can actually tell you what's happening as the night goes on. I just arrived from emceeing a wedding last night, so I'm half expecting someone to sing a song with love in it and for two people to get up and kiss. And if that happens, I'm not going to act strange at all because it'll just be a run-on from last night. Very exciting night tonight. I'm really pumped about some of the pitches that are coming. It's kind of interesting. It's like speed dating with less time. It's going to be so fast, the amount of time that each of these pitches have. But as was mentioned earlier, winners of Pitch This are already having great success. And I want to just talk about two of them that are premiering projects in the festival this year. Pat Mills was the winner in 2008 with Don't Talk to Irene, excuse me, which, gets this, was an overweight teenage girl who followed her passion for cheerleading. What's not to love? What's not? I'm already all up in that. Excuse me. Pat was born in Ottawa and graduated from Ryerson. Two of his short films, Pat's First Kiss and 5 Dysfunctional People in a Car, screened at the festival, as did the feature directorial debut, Guidance 14, Don't Talk to Irene, his latest film. Don't Talk to Irene premieres Monday, September 11th, so that's tomorrow, at 7:30 p.m. at Scotia 3, so make sure you try to get out and see that. Mindy McGlynn and Matt Code were runners-up and special mentions from the jury last year in 2016 with the film Mary Goes Round, which is, the pitch was basically when a substance abuse counselor gets arrested for a DUI and returns to her hometown of Niagara Falls. My God, it sounds like my cousin's life story. She learns that her estranged father is dying of cancer and wants her to form a bond with her teenage half-sister that she's never met in this family drama from writer-director Molly McGlynn. Molly is a Montreal-born, New Jersey-raised filmmaker and graduate of the Writers Lab at the Canadian Film Centre. Her short films include I Am Not a Weird Person, Shoes, and the festival selection Three-Way, Not Calling. Mary Goes Round is her debut feature. Now, what the competition tonight is going to be, and you'll have to forgive me because it's heavy notes, and I'm not usually a person who likes to read the script, but there's so much information about what these creators have done and what you're about to see that I really don't want to miss any of it. The competition is going to be fast and furious. There are 6 teams, and they each have, get this, 6 minutes. I find it very difficult as a Mi'kmaq person to even say hello within a half hour. So I really don't know how people can get this in 6 minutes, but they are going to do it. The winning team will be selected by a jury of international experts, and they are awarded 15,000 buckaroos from Telefilm to develop the script. Now, there were some coaches involved, and we want to thank the coaches for helping the folks with their pitch. Aslan Chin Yi, Leonard Fairlinger, Karen Harnish, and Matt Johnson. Let's give them a round of applause. and of course, a jury. Now, as a recovered lawyer, the jury means a different thing to me, but I'm trying to get out of that headspace and into the TIFF headspace. The jury tonight consists of international and Canadian professionals in the film industry, including Inga, Diev, who's the general manager of Ouat Media, Ian, and please forgive me if I'm stumbling on some of the names, Ian Harnarine, filmmaker, doubles with Sight Pepper. George Schmalz, who's the curator of AMC's Sundance Now. Milda Yu, director of sales and acquisitions, Pacific Northwest Pictures. And Jacobine Vander Vloed, director and head of studies, ACE Producers. The jury will review the pitches based on their ability to entertain tonight, also on the attractiveness of the project and the feasibility of completion and just how much impact the money will have on the project. So now it is time to introduce your first pitch. Are you ready for this? I was a little worried because when I saw who the first pitch was, I'm very, very biased. And I said, oh, I'm not sure if I should be hosting. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm just hosting. I'm not the jury. So I can be as biased as I want to be because Tracey Deer is in the first pitch. And any other Indigenous people, yeah, you give her a round. If there are any other Indigenous people in the audience, you know that Tracey's documentary work has had an incredible impact on our lives, and for a lot of us was able to really articulate what life is like as a contemporary Indigenous person in a way that had never been done before. But there, I'll leave my bias aside now. I've said it. And now I'll go back to what the official stuff I'm supposed to say. Tracey is an award-winning Mohawk filmmaker of both documentary and fiction. Her work has won 2 Gemini Awards and earned acclaim from multiple film festivals, including Hot Docs and Doksa. In 2016, she was a recipient of the Berks Diamond Tribute Award at TIFF. She's currently in pre-production on the 5th and final season of Mohawk Girls, which is such an amazing series on APTN, with showrunner partner Cynthia Knight. Deer has been nominated for Best Director of a Comedy Series at the Canadian Screen Awards 2 years in a row, and she's currently developing her feature project, Beans, with co-writer Meredith Vuknik, maybe? Sorry if I've mispronounced that. Tracey has also participated in the TIFF studio. Pitching with Tracey, this is funny because if you've noticed, the intros are longer than the actual pitches are gonna be, which is kind of comical, but Jennifer is an award-winning filmmaker whose films have played at Tribeca, Vancouver, Calgary, and Palm Springs. She's an alumni of the Burfinal Talent Lab and the TIFF Talent Lab. In 2013, she directed, co-wrote, and co-produced the short film Hitman, which received a Golden Sheaf nomination at the Yorkton Short Film and Video Festival, and it aired on CBC. She's also a member of the Academy of Canadian Cinema and Television, and she's currently in production on her latest film, Historic Homes of the Future, and she's in post-production on Keely and Do. Please welcome Tracey and Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mesich. I'm the producer of our film, 12 Days.
And I'm Tracey Deer, the writer and director.
You know, it's quite common to use the term survive as a playful exaggeration.
For instance, how many of you can't survive in the morning without your coffee?
Or have had to survive yet another brutal first date.
And then there's surviving what was supposed to be a fun family activity.
We use it to express just how hard life can be sometimes, but that's not really surviving. That's just living.
Our film, 12 Days, will show you what survival really looks like.
Inspired by true events, 12 Days will tell the story of Dawn. She's Ojibwe and from Nipissing First Nation. She's 25 years old and the mother of a rambunctious 2-year-old daughter. Dawn likes listening to heavy metal music, hunting moose with her dad, And despite
she still believes in love.
she still believes in love, because
Despite a terrible breakup.
right, she could be your sister, your best friend, or you.
One beautiful summer day, Dawn went driving in the woods with some male friends. They laugh, they goof around until a tire blows and they're stranded. Hours later, Dawn never shows up to pick up her daughter from her parents' house. But the men are back, and they all have different stories about when they last saw Dawn. Her parents fear the worst. Meanwhile, the cops have dismissed it as just another deadbeat Native mother who has run out on her child.
But Dawn was lost and in excruciating pain because earlier that day, she was viciously attacked and left for dead. So with her body bruised and lacerated, no shoes, and her jaw broken, Dawn survived for 12 full days in a beautiful but hostile environment. She had no food, no shelter, and there were
wild animals around every turn. 12 Days is her story of her incredible strength and resilience to survive against all the odds, to stand up to her attacker and hold him accountable. And we hope to inspire all of us to make Canada a safer space for all women.
We need to make films like this in Canada because even though we were recently named the most reputable country in the world, we're not yet living up to that honor.
For my people, this country's Indigenous peoples, that ranking is a joke. It completely dismisses our struggles.
The RCMP reports that there are just over 1,000 cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada, but however, grassroots organizations would peg that number closer to 4,000.
We are 6 times more likely to be killed, and we are 2.5 times more likely to experience violence than non-Indigenous women. And these are not just statistics that I'm telling you. I was 20 years old when I was raped by someone I thought was my friend. I didn't talk about it for years, and when I finally did, I was really appalled to find out how many of my friends had suffered a similar attack. It's one of my biggest regrets that I didn't stand up for myself and speak up when it happened. I want to do so now by making this film.
The film will be a cross between Wild, 127 Hours, and The Revenant. The plot will revolve around Dawn's experience and the unfolding investigation of what happened to her in a classic whodunit mystery.
While the subject matter is definitely very serious, the film will not be dark and dreary. This is about honoring survivors. We want the audience to feel inspired and hopeful.
This is the perfect kind of film to make in Canada. We have the locations, we have the amazing talent to pull it off, and we're looking for a distributor who would be the perfect partner to help us reach the audience we're going for.
Finally, why are we the right people to make this film? I'm a Mohawk filmmaker with 15 years experience in documentary and television as a writer, director, and producer. And having grown up in this country feeling invisible, I want to make sure the voices of my people and of women are heard loud and clear. 12 Days perfectly melds both of those priorities.
I've been producing and working in film for over a decade. I'm passionate about telling stories about women, told by women, and we need to hear more stories about heroes like Dawn.
Truth and reconciliation are very trendy terms right now, but make no mistake, it is crucial that we come together to make this country better for all of us. We hope 12 Days will contribute to this very important national discussion and motivate change.
Here are a few words from the real Dawn.
Off to a dramatic and exciting start. I have to tell you, something you can't see, but I can see, is right down at the front of the stage, there is a timer timing the 6 minutes. And they were getting so close, and I was hoping they were gonna go a little over, because I assumed, like at the Oscars, I would then start singing The Love Boat, just to you know, help move the time along. But they were right on. They had 2 seconds to spare. Now, this is gonna be interesting, the second pitch, because there is no actual intro. The intro is going to be via the screen. So let me just introduce to you the people making the pitch. The pitch is called Fall from the Sky. Hoping that's not part of it. Dara Campbell, Dan Montgomery, and Kazik Radwanski. Cue the flip.
Your doctor recommended that we do this for you, just to help you to understand where your mind is and how much you can remember, and that sort of thing.
I know where my mind is. I know where it is. If I know where it is, why do you care?
Very good. I'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. So please just wait here, and I've got another test for you.
Oh,
Okay?
I hope
Thanks.
it's a little better than that one.
I hope so too.
Hi everyone, my name is Dan Montgomery. I'm the producer of Fall from the Sky. I'm joined on stage by writer-director Kazik Radwanski and our lead actress, Dara Campbell. 10 years ago, thank you, yes? Pitch this! 10 years ago, Kaz and I made our first short film together, Princess Margaret Boulevard, which you saw a clip of. The film was made on a very modest scale with a small group of collaborators, but it really paved the way for our methodology of working together. 10 years later, we've had 7 films screen at TIFF. We've made 2 features together, Tower in 2012, which premiered at Locarno and went on to play at TIFF, and How Heavy This Hammer in 2015, which premiered at TIFF and went on to play in Berlin. Fall from the Sky marks our 3rd feature together. It marks the culmination of years of modest, micro-budget filmmaking roots, but it also marks our most ambitious project to date.
Our film follows Anne. When Anne was attending university, she suffered a nervous breakdown and was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Since then, she's been working to regain her life. She now works at a daycare, but no one there knows about her diagnosis. If they were, she may lose her job. Anne is very protective of her identity and her livelihood and her freedom. She is very good at her job. She just recently found a new apartment and has a strong circle of friends and family that support her. However, in this film, we'll see Anne lose her footing for the first time. The prescription Anne is on prevents most of the symptoms of schizophrenia. However, there are some side effects, the most serious one being that it can cause a facial twitch to develop. If that happens, she'll have this permanently, and she's terrified of being marked for life by this. This motivates her to want to experiment with her dosage, and she tries to lower it. However, lots of other things are going on in Anne's life. Her best friend is getting married, and for their bachelorette party, they go skydiving. When she jumps out of the plane, it's exciting and exhilarating, but also totally overwhelming. At the wedding, she has too much to drink, meets a guy, and they quickly spiral into a very intense relationship. And on top of that, she's working at the daycare. And she starts to act a bit more erratically, a bit more emotional on the job. One day, she becomes totally overcome and starts crying uncontrollably in front of children, and some parents witness this. This motivates a series of events, and we see Anne's grip on things become more tenuous, and we follow her as she tries to navigate her personal life, her job and her employment, her illness, but also essentially her livelihood, her life. I like to make films about outsiders, about people who don't fit into society. I like to work closely with actors and get really special and transcendent performances focusing on minute details. This is a film about schizophrenia. However, the word schizophrenia never appears once in the screenplay. What this film's really about is stigma, or how prejudice and how otherizing people can harm their lives and how they have to protect themselves against it. A huge influence on me is the work of John Cassavetes, in particular the film A Woman Under the Influence. He was able to find incredible performances, and I think I may have found Toronto's answer to Jenna Rowlands. I wrote this screenplay for one person, and that was Dara Campbell.
Yeah, I've worked largely in hybridized environments, as in using a combination of professional and non-professional actors and improvised and scripted scenes. And Cass has this really particular ability to navigate those two modes and uncover really particular gestures and phrasing and unusual habits or reactions, and create these characters that are, I mean, really real and moving. As an actor, I'm obviously really interested in building a character with him. What I find most exciting about working in this particular mode is how much you have to pay attention to each other in order to support and respond. And I have a complete trust for Dan and Kaz, and I'm really excited for what we'll discover through filming.
Last year, Kaz was nominated for the $100,000 Rogers Best Canadian Film Award by the Toronto Film Critics Association. He and the other nominees decided to preemptively split the prize as an act of mutual respect and prosperity. It's with this seed money that we've been moving through pre-production on the project, but we hope that the $15,000 from Pitch This would be the tipping point that allows us to move into full-on production. The three of us agree that skydiving is a very literal extension of our creative process. The way in which things are set up, but how they unfold is yet to be determined. We hope that you enjoy this clip we're about to show, and thank you for the time.
That last clip giving us an idea of what they meant from falling from the sky. Do you have a bucket list out there? Do you all have bucket list things you want to do before you die? Is that one of them? Yeah, that's on my list of things I don't want to do before I die. I want to stay inside all planes that I ever get on. Simple goal, simple girl. That's all it is, really. All right, we're ready for pitch number 3, and this one I will actually introduce. Making the pitch will be Dominic Dussault, who has produced many short films that have been selected for film festivals and sold internationally. The Whispering Breeze, directed by Jonathan Tremblay, had its world premiere at TIFF. Her latest short film, Nona, directed by Pascal Plante, had its international premiere at Sundance in January 2017. And Dussault is currently has a narrative feature film in post-production and other projects, both fiction and documentary, in various development stages. Now, Dominic will be pitching today with Pascal Plante, a director and co-founder of the production company Nemesis Films. Plante has directed numerous short films, including Shitty Drum. I just want to see it just to know what Shitty Drum is about. I got all kinds of pictures in my head. Which screened at Sundance. Blue-Eyed Blonde, which won Best Canadian Short Film at the Vancouver International Film Festival. And Nona, which had its international premiere at Sundance in January 2017. Plante also has a podcast called Point de Vue, which is my bad French of point of view, I assume, which has 160 episodes and counting. She just completed his first fiction feature entitled Les Faux Tutage, which is, this is an Mi'kmaq person forced to speak English, now trying to speak French. It's a challenge. Which is set to premiere in the fall of 2017 with a theatrical release in 2018. Without further ado, please welcome Dominic and Pascal.
Hi, I'm Dominic Dussault, producer of Nadia Butterfly.
Hi, I'm Pascal Plante, writer-director of Nadia Butterfly and former high-level competitive swimmer. That was me at 18. That same year, I did the Beijing Olympic trials, and then I stopped competing to pursue my studies in cinema. But oddly, I could never connect my past experiences as an elite athlete with a single film. That might be because there's a tendency to portray athletes as virtuous demigods and superhumans, when in reality, athletes are flawed, fragile, and messed up like everybody else. They're human. The Olympic Games are the peak of an athlete's career. But once they're done competing, the Olympic Village transforms into the most exclusive secret party. In Rio, they actually distributed an average of 42 condoms per athlete. So I've been told pretty crazy stories from my ex-Olympian friends, but as the saying goes, what happens in the village stays in the village. Only, we actually plan on making a feature film about it.
But of course, it's not just about that. Nadia Butterfly is an upbeat fiction drama that follows Nadia, a 20-year-old butterfly swimmer who decides to retire right after the Olympics because she doesn't want to get trapped in that world forever. Problem is, she still hasn't figured out what she wants to do with her life when she gets back home.
While our inspiration comes from real-life testimonies and archives, like these amateur images provided by my friend Sandrine Mainville, Nadia Butterfly is a stage fiction film with a fictitious protagonist. So the story starts. Nadia is about to swim the very last professional event of her career, the 4x1 medley relay. We're backstage with the 4 Canadian girls minutes before the final. They get pumped up. Everybody deals with stress in a different way. Nadia is especially close with Marie-Pierre, the other francophone swimmer in the relay. The team's ultimate goal is simple. They can't really beat the Americans and the Australians, of course, so they aim for bronze. Bronze is still good. So the race starts. Nadia is up third with the butterfly part, and she's laser focused, high on adrenaline. We're off with her. These images were shot recently with an ex-pro swimmer to give a sense of what can be achieved for the underwater, more meditative moments. But apart from those ethereal punctuations, we aim to be as authentic as possible. We want to shoot with real professional swimmers. I'm used to working with non-actors. I've done that numerous times in the past. And I've always loved fiction films blurring the line with documentary, especially inspired by the work of Cassavetes, Andrea Arnold, and Harmony Korine. Just think of a less trashy Spring Breakers meeting Foxcatcher with swimmers. Yeah, I guess it's a pretty unique mix. So, all right, now back to the story. Nadia finishes her race, touches the wall. The last teammate goes. The girls encourage each other like crazy, and they actually do it. They finish third. They're hysterical. The film then unfolds with the interviews, the podium ceremony, and the photo shoots, all captured with extreme proximity and intimacy, a vantage point that we never get to see from watching the Olympics on TV. But then we stick around for the backstage story, for what will be the craziest night of debauchery that Nadia's ever experienced, a bulimic way to rebalance her life of sacrifice. Or so she thinks. But waking up hangover the next day, having to do countless interviews, recounting her victory over and over again, Nadia is struck with a sense of emptiness. She's just accomplished her biggest dream. What's next? She's retired now, she's in her 20s with only a high school degree, real life will catch up, and she cannot define herself as a swimmer anymore. So as the Olympics draw to a close, Nadia's doubts turn into fear. And what about her friendship with Marie-Pierre and the other girls? Would it survive if she doesn't swim anymore? Hence, the story follows the steps of grief, from denial to bittersweet acceptance at the end of the movie, as Nadia leaves the Olympics, symbolized by her looking ahead and finally choosing a branch to pursue the studies she postponed for so long.
I have produced 2 of Pascal's previous shorts, including one featuring my own grandmother. Yes, that's the grandmother dancing like crazy. So I trust him to make a beautiful psychological film that will transcend its sensationalist nature by portraying strong female leads that we rarely get to see on screen. We currently have a first version of the screenplay and are now ready to get the funding going. We're now looking for a senior co-producer who will help us get to our projected budget of $1.6 million. We aim to shoot our fictional Olympics in 2019 to have the film ready by the 2020 Olympics. So the Telefilm prize money would really give us that kickstart. We will push our research further by organizing film roundtables with Olympian athletes. We'll also hire a casting director who will help us find the perfect cast that will reflect Canada's multiculturalism and diversity. We're confident that Nadia Butterfly will touch a large public. Pascal's latest feature, Les Faux Tatouages, which was funded by Telefilm's micro-budget program, will have a theatrical release in 2018. So there's no doubt that the more ambitious Nadia Butterfly will get an even wider commercial release. It's important to mention that while being a film about swimming, Nadia Butterfly transcends that niche by being a universal story about passion and dedication.
So to finish on a personal note, I just gotta say that I'm really excited to dive back into that world 10 years after my own retirement and get to tell you all about it.
We can't wait to make the film. Thank you very much. Merci.
Sounds like a very interesting topic. Canadian Olympic athlete Krista Goulogne put out a book last year. I don't know if any of you read it, about what happens after the applause and that letdown after the Olympics being a common experience for not just Olympians, but I think anybody who's had any kind of a success that then ends and you're moving on to your next stage of life. Very interesting pitch. Now time for pitch number 4. This one is called We Will, oh no, it's not time for that one, is it? Yes. We will not be deflated. I'm, my Spanx are a little tight this evening and I was thinking about those deflating me, but no, we will not be defeated. Dylan Rebling and Andrew Nicholas McCann Smith. Dylan is an award-winning multimedia director with a diverse body of work. His short films have screened at over 50 film festivals around the world, including TIFF, Tribeca, Palm Springs, and the BFI, London. He has mounted interactive art installations at festivals across Canada, including Toronto's Nuit Blanche. His documentary work spans hard-hitting investigative pieces for Vice and factual titles for major networks such as Discovery, History, and Art. Looking for Mike, a recent investigative documentary film, led to the solving of a 23-year-old missing persons case and was nominated for a Canadian Screen Award for Best Documentary Program in 2017. I don't know about you, but I'm obsessed with missing people. That sounds very interesting. The other pitcher is Andrew Nicholas McCann Smith, co-founder of the Toronto-based First Love Films. First Love has the express mandate to produce exceptional screen-based content regardless of the platform. Since 2012, First Love has played on the most prestigious screens across the world, including Sundance, TIFF, and AFI. First Love has taken home over dozens of top awards, including a Canadian Screen Award, Grand Prix at the Clermont-Ferrand, and the Locarno's Jury Prize. They have produced 4 feature films and digital series for the CBC, New Forms Digital, Geek and Sundry, and Verizon's Go 90. Last year, Andrew produced the CSA-nominated documentary, Looking for Mike, with director Dylan Rebling. And finally, the third pitcher is Brian Robertson, a Toronto-based producer. His work includes Diamond Tongues, which premiered at Slamdance at the 2017 comedy Sundowners, starring Tim Heidecker. Brian joined First Love Films in 2017. Please welcome Dylan, Andrew, and Brian.
Before we begin, I'd like to mention we will be looking at some disturbing images and ideas created by internet trolls and the alt-right. We do not endorse this perspective. If anyone has any concerns on how we present, please talk to us after the fact.
All right, We Will Not Be Defeated is a fictional film set against the backdrop of the online culture wars. It follows a performance artist named Steve, whose public art installation is destroyed by right-wing internet trolls. But first, in order to understand this world and how it works, I need to take you down a bit of a rabbit hole. For the past 2 years, I've worked on a documentary series for Vice called Cyber War. It's all about hackers and geopolitics. This season, one of my episodes had to deal with alt-right internet trolls. Researching this episode took me to the darkest corners of the internet. I met all kinds of trolls, from neo-Nazis to internet conspiracy theorists to paleo-conservative libertarians to white supremacists, just to name a few. One particular troll took me to the places where these guys congregate online. In these online venues, trolls share a dizzying array of outlandish and disturbing beliefs. Everything from weird pornography, violent and gory images, and flippant and ironic conversations about murder, rape, suicide, and Nazis. These twisted echo chambers have given rise to a new troll subculture. It's rabidly anti-PC. They revel in anything that will trigger normies or cause regular people to freak out. Their weapon of choice is memes. Memes like these. The more shocking and offensive, the better. Through the rapid-fire evolution of their meme language, trolls have perfected a system for creating and distributing codified messages of hate. Take Pepe the Frog, for example. Started off as a harmless cartoon frog. But in the hands of trolls, he's been twisted into a symbol of hate. And actually, the Jewish Anti-Defamation League considers Pepe to be an official anti-Semitic symbol. That song you heard when we first walked in is Chatelet. It's an Italian disco song from 1986. Last year, a troll discovered that Chatelet was written by a band called Pepe. And in a strange coincidence, they've discovered that the record features a picture of a cartoon frog. Trolls took this as a sign of Pepe's powerful symbolism, and they adopted Chatelet as the official anthem of the alt-right. Now, all of this may seem absurd, but there are reasons to take it seriously. Troll culture is gaining momentum, and they're increasingly using their online channels to organize and coordinate. Everything from online hate campaigns to rallies like the one we saw in Charlottesville. Using memes and trolling techniques, they're working together to take down anyone who opposes them. Our film, We Will Not Be Defeated, takes place in this world where trolls can hijack public discourse. It follows a performance artist named Steve who mounts a public art installation outside of a museum, inviting spectators to come and participate in a live stream video protest by chanting the anti-Trump phrase, "We will not be defeated." If this sounds familiar, it's because we're taking inspiration from the Shia LaBeouf installation, He Will Not Divide Us. Now, Steve has high-minded ideals, but if you want to create something that trolls want to fuck with, you couldn't do much better than We Will Not Be Defeated. It's lefty, it's liberal, and it's earnest to the point of being naive. And sure enough, the troll armies attack. First with online shit-slinging, but then they actually start showing up in real life, chanting coded neo-Nazi slogans and playing songs like Chatelet for hours on end to drive everyone crazy. Eventually, the provocations turn physical, and sensing the threat of imminent violence, the museum shuts the installation down. Undeterred from his message, Steve remounts the installation at a series of secret venues across North America. But the troll armies also mobilize. Using their online channels to pool information, they work together to reverse engineer all of his locations, using everything from hacked GPS data to triangulating his locations based on the star constellations viewable in the live video feed. All of this would be pretty impressive if it wasn't put to such disturbing ends, and sure enough, each one of his installations is shut down. The film ends with Steve fleeing the trolls and going to the most remote location possible, a cabin in northern Finland. Rattled by the attacks and abandoned by his museums, he is faced with a dilemma. Does he carry on or concede defeat? As Steve mounts one final installation at the ends of the earth, we'll learn the limits of troll capabilities to track a person down and to crush a person's spirit. While our film follows Steve's journey, we'll also be intercut with vignettes of the people doing the actual trolling. These vignettes will be taken from some of my actual conversations with real-life trolls. Everyone from the 20-year-old lecturing me on the finer points of race realism while his mom made dinner for him upstairs, to the hacker equipping an army of drones with facial recognition software that can detect ethnicity. Through the equally terrifying and absurd, these vignettes will give us insight into troll culture. We may not like what we see, but if we want to do something about it, we need to understand how it works, and we need to do so now.
Since we were asked to present here today, this film has become insanely timely. In the last year, we've been in this Black Mirror existence where trolls have actually been succeeding at disrupting public discourse with things like Pizzagate, the election of Trump, and of course Charlottesville. And honestly, we're very scared about this. We feel that this is a very important film to make now, while we normies still have a chance to do something about it. And we're looking for partners to do the same with us. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you for that. A very somber pitch, and sadly, it is timely. And who thought in 2017 that we'd be back into the kind of discussions that I thought we were done with back in 1968, but apparently not. We are now moving on to the next pitch, which is called Impostor. It's your fourth pitch of the evening. And pitching for Impostor is Adam Goldhammer, a Toronto-based filmmaker. His credits include Jessie, which was a finalist on the CBC Short Film Face-Off and screened in festivals internationally, Impostor, which premiered at the New York Film Festival, and Easy Girl, which screened as part of the Short Film Corner's Coup de Coeur program at Cannes. He is a graduate of the Director's Lab at Norman Jewison's Canadian Film Centre and is currently developing his short film Impostor into a feature. Evan M. Landry will also be pitching for Impostor. Evan is an award-winning producer from Toronto. He's produced many short films, commercials, and music videos. Landry's music video work has received multiple awards and nominations at the MTV, VMAs, Junos, BET Awards, and the MMVAs. In 2015, he produced the video for Drake's viral hit, Hotline Bling, the meaning of which I am still trying to figure out. I still don't know what a hotline bling is, but I hope one happens to me at some point. Landry's short film, 5 films about technology, premiered at TIFF, played at Sundance, and was distributed theatrically in the US. Also pitching is Katie, and I think I have a typo. It says Katie McM, but maybe that is the full name. Katie's a Toronto-based screenwriter and director with an interest in social justice and the politics of representation. Her writing is informed by years of advocacy for female and disabled identified artists through her work with Women in View and Tangled Art and Disability. Her writing credits include the short films Impostor and Worst Day Ever. Easy Girl, which she co-directed, screened as part of the short film corner, as I had said earlier, at Cannes, and Macmillan is developing the feature film script for Impostor. Please welcome the 3 pitchers for Impostor.
I want you to take a moment to think about the person you're closest with. Your partner, maybe someone in your family, your best friend. Imagine you found out something about this person that changed everything you thought you knew about them, that made you realize they're not who you thought they were. This is someone you depend on, someone you've shared your vulnerabilities with, maybe you even sleep beside them. If they wanted to, they could hurt you in the most gut-wrenching and the most terrifying ways.
We assume the people closest to us aren't going to hurt us because if we didn't, we wouldn't allow ourselves to fall asleep at night. But for me, that doesn't stop that fear. The fear that the people closest to me could be the most dangerous from every so often creeping in.
My name is Evan Landry, and I'm one of the producers of Impostor. This is Adam Goldhammer, the director, and this is Katie McMillan, the screenwriter. Impostor is about when that creeping fear becomes all-consuming.
13-year-old Lamia has been plagued with insomnia since her mother, Claire, abandoned her and her father to move out to an old family property, a maple farm deep in the country. Desperate to get her parents back together, Lamia convinces her father to drive her all the way out to the isolated farmhouse for the weekend so she can persuade her mother to come home. But when she arrives at the farm, her once loving, affectionate mother is different.
Lamia's mom is cold, distant, neglectful. The morning after Lamia arrives at the farm, her mom leaves her alone for hours in the creepy farmhouse while she goes to collect sap from the forest. As evening approaches and her mother still hasn't returned, Lamia goes looking for her mom in the woods, where she discovers her mother's dead body. She rushes home and is shocked to find her mother very much alive. Lamia begins to suspect that this person may not actually be her mom.
Lamia tests her mother, asking her questions about her father and the separation, but Claire cannot seem to remember anything. On the night her dad is supposed to pick her up, Lamia overhears her parents arguing and sneaks downstairs right as her mom attacks her dad with an axe. When Claire catches Lamia, Lamia tries to run away but trips and hits her head. Lamia wakes up in bed, confused and disoriented. She confronts her mom holding a knife, who tells her that her father never showed up. Claire proceeds to lock Lamia in her room, telling her she's dangerous.
In the middle of the night, Lamia spies Claire sneaking out to the forest with an axe, so she breaks out of her room, scours the house for a weapon, and finds all sharp objects in the house have been removed. She follows Claire out to the forest, where she finds her burying the axe. Lamia lunges for the axe, and they wrestle for the weapon until Lamia overpowers her mom, holding the axe to her throat. Desperately, Claire tells Lamia that her dad was having an affair and that she's been trying to protect her from the truth. Lamia has a choice: kill this imposter who's been terrorizing her, or trust that this is her mother and that perhaps it's her father who's the imposter.
The horror genre has shown us people chopped to pieces in all kinds of creative ways, but there's clearly an appetite for a new brand of horror which replaces jump scares and gore with hauntingly existential fears. It Comes at Night, The Witch, Get Out. These films have all been called post-horror, as they revel in minimalism, getting under our skin with highly crafted political, psychological, and philosophical questions. Impostor embraces this genre, and it explores a slippery slope from caution to paranoia to delusion.
This is the perfect time for us to make Impostor because it fits right into that post-horror film landscape of low-budget indie films made with mass appeal. Get Out is the highest-grossing indie film of 2017 to date, and The Witch was the highest-grossing indie film of 2016.
In order to get this project off the ground, we knew that we needed to attach an experienced producer. So we approached Dan Beckerman, who was enthusiastic about making Impostor as a follow-up to his hit film, The Witch. Dan brings a lot of experience and connections to the table, including a pre-existing relationship with A24, whom we'll explore collaborating with on this project.
The script for Impostor is being developed from a short film we created while Adam was a resident at the Canadian Film Centre. All of the images and the music you heard today as part of our pitch are from the short film, which premiered at the New York Film Festival in 2016. And yesterday, we just found out, we'll have its LA premiere at one of the largest international horror festivals in October.
Winning this $15,000 would be massive for us. It would mean we could take the time that we need to finish the final draft of the script and also engage a casting director to begin attaching talent, which we believe, coupled with the finished draft and the short film, would put us in an excellent position to secure financing. We truly believe in this project, and as would be our first feature film, this would be a massive next step in launching our careers.
The three of us have been working together on numerous projects, including short films that have played at festivals all over the world. And through these collaborations, we've honed our creative vision and process as a team.
On the surface, Impostor is a psychological thriller about a girl who believes her mother has been replaced. But underneath this is a story about a mother and daughter coping with trauma and betrayal who must learn to trust one another in order to survive. We hope that you will support us in taking these important next steps to making this film possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love horror fix. I'm already intrigued and want to see the rest of this. At the same time that I'm excited about that, I'm hoping security will walk me out to my car where my wife, or maybe not my wife, is waiting for me. I'll be looking at her differently now as I approach the car. If I find her drinking black stuff from a tree, I'm running. Somebody help me. Take me into your car with you. The time has come for the sixth and final pitch of the evening. And this pitch is called Boring Girls. Pitching for it will be Carol Aiken, who's a creative producer based in Toronto. She's an alumna of York University's Film, MIFA, and TIFF studio. Her company, Aiken Hart Films, oh, what a cute play on the name, I love that. Aikenheart Film specializes in developing a new talent in film, television, and digital cinema. The company has screened work internationally with films in competition at Cannes, at TIFF, and recently Short Notes on the Gaze, a commission for the popular screening site nowness.com. Also pitching will be Hannah Cheeseman. Hannah is a Canadian Screen Award nominated actor, writer, and filmmaker. She was a 2014 TIFF Emerging Canadian Filmmaker, and her first feature film, The Definites, is currently being submitted to festivals. Her latest short film, multi-award-winning Cheese, oh, another play on the name, I love it, showed at festivals around the globe, including Cannes and Palm Springs. Please welcome Carol and Hannah.
Hi there, I am Hannah Cheeseman, and I'm the writer-director of Boring Girls, a revenge drama about two 15-year-old girls and their bloody rise to fame on the death metal scene.
And I'm Coral Lake, and I'm the producer of Boring Girls. I have over 10 years of experience producing shorts and features. I've had films premiere at Cannes, on Nowness, and my first feature film, Big Money, premiered here at TIFF.
And I am the co-creator, writer, producer, star of Whatever Linda, a web series that's won over 20 awards worldwide and is currently in development for TV with the Mark Gordon Company and the creator of Orphan Black, Graham Manson. I'm a Playback 5 to Watch recipient, and my upcoming feature film, The Definites, is going to be premiering, have its Canadian premiere this fall in an exciting festival that I can't yet name.
Well, Hannah's also an actor. She was in some Hollywood blockbusters, she's been in indie movies, and she wouldn't be Canadian without having appeared on Murdoch Mysteries. Hannah, were you a murderer?
No, Coral. I just aided and abetted a murderer. So
that's good. It's like a lighter sentence for you.
Yeah, totally. And also, Coral is a killer line producer. She's actually been hired by most of our competition today to manage their budgets.
It's actually so true. No big deal, guys. So Hannah and I have been wanting to work together for a while now. We've been looking for something that would combine both of our strengths. So Hannah's dark, hilarious, edgy tone, and my Winnipeg street smarts. So we found the novel Boring Girls. I called Hannah right away.
Because I'm so boring.
Most boring person in my whole phone.
So I read the book and I was like, teen girls, death metal, friendship with a fuck you attitude, and murder? That was our language. So when we first meet Rachel, she's a mousy loner from a happy suburban home. And then one day she hears something pulsing from a car that she's never heard before, death metal. She goes down the death metal rabbit hole and everything changes. She starts dressing the part, she starts writing gruesome lyrics and drawing murderous illustrations. But it's only when she meets Fern, the only other person in the world who loves death metal as much as she does, that it all galvanizes. They suddenly belong. And before you know it, these two fast friends decide to start a band together. They call it Colostomy Hag. Okay, you get it. No explanation necessary. Good. And then one day they get to see their favorite band perform, and the girls are so stoked when they manage to sneak backstage to the green room to tell these guys about their own music. But they quickly realize that these guys are actually just assholes behind closed doors. They tell Rachel and Fern, yeah, we're kind of sick of boring girls, you know? We kind of just want to get laid. When Rachel and Fern don't willingly give it up, they're grabbed, groped, and in the end, Fern is assaulted. Afterwards, the girls are numb. Well, Fern is numb, but Rachel is angry, really angry, because for her, it isn't about forgiveness or going to therapy or finding peace. It's about taking the power back, making the assholes pay for what they did. So the girls vow to get revenge. How? By getting so good at their music that they become death metal megastars. Their rise to fame is fast, like a tidal wave, and eventually they land a spot on tour with their aggressors. During the live show, Rachel and Fern pick up the battle axes and war hammers that serve as stage props, and in front of an audience of thousands, they cut their fucking heads off. It doesn't get more death metal than that.
So the tagline is, watch them shred, and think Thelma and Louise meets Ghost World meets death metal.
So these days, you don't have to scratch deep to see that the world is angry. It's on our news feeds every single day. Coral and I are pretty angry. Some of you are probably angry, and Rachel and Fern certainly get angry. Boring Girls taps into that sense of injustice and brings it to its death metal extreme in an action-packed, adventurous, no-holds-barred journey of self-discovery. Ours is a story of friendship, but it's also a story of two girls trying to make sense of a very complex world in whatever way they can.
So we've optioned the novel that Boring Girls is based on, and we're working closely with the writer of the book, Sarah Taylor. She's herself the front woman of a badass metal band called the Birthday Massacre. And today we're asking for $15,000 to take this strong story outline, lock Hannah in a room for 3 months, and we can let her out when she has a killer first draft.
Right, but there's a line in there for like some food and a sleeping bag. Or
we're going to talk about this later. Though.
Sorry, wrong time.
So what will you get when you invest in us? A film that people will really want to watch. Boring Girls taps into a subculture with an audience that is global, huge, and loyal. So there was a Vice article, and its title was, Spotify discovers that heavy metal is more popular than pop music. Because heavy metal is more popular than pop music on Spotify, because metal fans listen to the songs they love over and over and over again. And like, Google it, it's amazing. So this audience, with a commitment like that, I want to make a movie for them.
Boring Girls is going to be big, bold, and unapologetic. We're ready to tell this story. We're the people to tell it, and the time to tell it is now. Get on board. Here's a taste of Boring Girls.
Oh, the night started with my bias and it ends with my bias. I'm part of that metal army. But I'm 48, so you can imagine I was banging my head to metal when my friends were listening to Wham. It was a very traumatic time. But that looks like a very, very interesting film. That brings us to the end of Pitch This. Amazing. It always amazes me anytime I take part in any of these things, the depth and breadth of talent that we have in this wonderful country of ours. What is going to happen now is that the jury is going to convene. This is going to be a very quick process. We have a happy hour set up just outside in the industry lounge, and at 5:30, you will hear the winner announced. My name is Candy Palmater. I've enjoyed being your host, and thank you so much to all of you. Oh my goodness, you guys are just like at church when you're done communion. The priest is still talking and you're out the door. It's like, what? You eat and run. What's going on? Thank you so much for coming to Telefilm Canada's Pitch This. You're dismissed. Bye-bye.